Namaskar, hello and very warm welcome to this special series of ours on school leadership development. My name is Tanvi Khurana and let me tell you that NCSL, that is National Center for School Leadership, brings you this series on school leadership development. And today being Friday, we are here with a new topic, and the topic is 10 key attributes of school heads as leaders. As you all know that this particular program is not just for students, but it is for teachers, it is for principals, it is for school leaders, school heads, school administrators, and everyone who is involved in the school community. So there's a lot of work to do, there's a lot of work that principals do, and the school leaders, they have a lot of responsibility. So what are those 10 key attributes of school leaders, school heads as school leaders? So we are going to talk about this in detail in this particular program, and if you have any questions, any doubts, you can reach out to us. You can call us on our number, which is 8800440559. At this moment, you're watching us on eVidya, channel number 6, channel number 9 and channel number 12. And let me tell you that you're also watching us on our YouTube channel, which is ncertofficial. In the live chat box, you can write down your questions, your queries and share them with us. This program is till 6:15, so we have a lot of time to take up your queries, and we have a guest with us. Let me please introduce to you Professor Avinash Kumar Singh. Sir, very warm welcome. Namaskar. So, Sir is currently working as professor and head of the Department of Educational Policy and National Center for School Leadership, NIEPA. NIEPA is the National Institute of Educational Planning and Administration, New Delhi. Sir has received his PhD in Education from University of London and a Masters of Studies in Social Anthropology from Oxford University. And Sir has also been a Government of India National Scholarship Awardee. So there's a lot to know about Professor Avinash Kumar Singh, but let's just focus on the 10 key attributes that he's going to talk about. That is the main aim of our program. And before we begin this program, before we begin this discussion, I have an announcement to make, that is regarding India's G20 presidency. Well, we're extremely proud of the fact that India assumed G20 presidency and would convene the G20 Leaders Summit for the first time in the country this year, that is 2023. A nation deeply committed to democracy and multilateralism, India's G20 presidency would be a watershed moment in her history, as it seeks to play an important role by finding global pragmatic solutions for the well-being of all, and in doing so, manifest its true spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or should I say, the world is one family. So with that, let's begin this discussion, and because we are talking about the key attributes of school heads as leaders, let's just understand who leaders are. So, would you like to define leaders for all our viewers, and also how do we characterize them?
Well, the term leader in fact comes from the leadership activity. In the Oxford Dictionary, it is being said that the action of leading a group of people or an organization. In fact, Cambridge Dictionary defines on the job of being in control of a group or a situation. So, the very idea that the leader is a position with powers and privileges and responsibilities. According to Max Weber, in fact, there are three types of leader: traditional, charismatic, legal and rational leaders, and authority structures. In fact, these structures are important from the point of view of defining, although there are different typology of leadership we have. If we see from the purpose of delegation or democratic procedures, there are different types, but the one which are mainly applicable to the school principals as the leaders, that goes to the third type, that is the legal and rational authority structure, because they belong to the third category in terms of positions and privileges which are given to them, and with that they achieve the maximum impact in the education system. So in that regard, that is something that has been there, in fact, in the whole system. So this way, I think once we talk about the school principal's leadership, then there are different attributes, in fact characteristics, which if you see that what are the attributes of the school heads as the leaders, where you in fact see them in terms of priority, or there can be a list of larger number, but the 10 key attributes which I think are important from the point of view of leadership for the school heads. The one which is very important is that the leader or the school principals as the leader should be a visionary. Visionary in the sense that it's a process. School or education process is a long-term process in which the end results of education takes place after long years, in fact, and this has to be built into the system where the person who is occupying the official position in the school system must have a vision of how to do the activities within the school system, so the children, those who come to the school, they get the best education and they come out as achievers in the education system. So visionary is the one. Vision is not in terms of 1 year or 2 years. It has a long-term vision whereby in fact you see the certain targets which you have won, and for a school, for example, which is catering to particular population size, where it has to take into account the children, those who will be coming to the system, to this school. So their needs, those who are in the system and those who will be going out. So this has a visionary kind of situation. A leader must be a visionary person. That is first characteristics of the leader that one should have in mind. Second is a leader should be always organized, prepared and proactive. Idea here is that a leader who is handling the school as an organization should be aware in terms of what are his or her responsibilities in a given the situations with the resources that the school is having. So there is it's a systematic process, and it should not be that it's only when you are asked that you should be performing it. A leader should be prepared with the resources and also will be taking the proactive action rather than somebody asking them to perform certain actions. So it has to be a kind of a proactive situation whereby the leader goes forward, take decisions which are needed in time, so that he or she has to act well in advance. If you see the third type of characteristics, which means that a leader should have a communication skills. The communication in the sense that a good leader will be that communicating in the terms which are very explicit, clear and result oriented in terms of, so that it does not take you, in this case communication also does not mean that you are able to speak properly or just having a good English or a good language capability, but also when and how to communicate. There are certain information, you should not flood the persons with the information well in advance, but you should take into account certain situations whereby the school leaders or its persons who is needed to communicate with either the students or the teachers or the community members or the parents, which way to communicate, what are the ways that, so communication is the very important skill, and it's the communication which has been very important for any leader, not only in a school situation, but of course in a school situation it is much more important, because the principal in fact becomes an exemplary character for the students, for the teachers, in fact to follow the suit in that directions. So that is something that is very important as the attribute of the school head as the leader. Leader is also that when there is a problem in the schools or a problem in the system, is able to solve the problems as and when they appear. It's not that leader will have to go here and there, and so the problem solving skills which in fact students are supposed to learn these skills. In fact, the teachers should or are supposed to perform those activities. A principal certainly should demonstrate those aspects of problems solving skills which in fact keep coming to the schools, and when they perform those activities. So this problem solving skills is very important for the school heads, where that these days when you are working in a different situation, you are located in an area, you are guided by certain rules and regulations which are procedures. So you do the things, you solve the problem systematically, keeping in mind all those aspects. When we say problem solving skill, that means for a principal, the problem solving skills will be of a different nature than what a teacher or what a child is supposed to. So that is something, a skill, problem solving skill, which a leader is supposed to have. This certainly is that the very top, one of the top priority skills of a leader to perform the role as the head. The fifth characteristic is that the whole education system is centered around the education of the child. So a leader should be, approach should be child centric or student centric and teacher friendly. These are the two most key important stakeholders in the education system, where all the things which are going in the name of education system, where the students needs certainly should be the focal point around which the school principals should take into account. What a child is needing in the system, that is very important for the principals to understand that the kind of students which are coming to the schools. So when we say student centric, well, that means that a child, individual child, each child certainly will have some kind of individual specific needs that should be kept in the mind of the student, mind of the principal. At the same time, the teacher friendly, in the sense that teachers are also quite important, because teachers in the Indian system have been given a very higher status, and both the student teacher relationship, how that should be nurtured in such a way so the classroom processes or a teaching learning which takes place in the school system is more meaningful, effective and achievement oriented. So in this kind of situation, a principal or a school head should make it sure that when a child is there in this education system or in the school premises, and the teacher is also available, what is the interaction, not just inside the classrooms but also outside the classrooms, that what kind of learning environment which takes place in the schools, where students' needs and the teachers' needs are also taken into account. Teachers certainly should be given the maximum freedom and autonomy in terms of exercising his or her teaching abilities, and so that students get the best kind of knowledge which is possible within the education system. At the same time, students are also in a position to derive those the benefits which the school system provides. So these are the five key characteristics which I have in fact tried to point out here. There are other five main other characteristics of the school principals which are important, which I would will take up this. Do you want me to go further in this direction, or so that I can go ahead with another five sets?
Yes, you'll definitely, I'll ask you to go ahead and say the rest of the five attributes. I'll just repeat for all our viewers once again that the five attributes sir highlighted so far were organized, prepared and proactive. School head should be visionary, and good communication skills, problem solving skills, and student centric and teacher friendly. So these are the main first five key attributes. We have 5 more to discuss, but let me ask sir here. Sir, can we say that if school heads have these 5 attributes, they can be described as leaders?
These are the inclusive characteristics. In fact, it's not I would not say these are the sufficient and exhaustive list of these 5 characters, but certainly it sets you the trend, because as we talked about, the first the trait that we discussed was this visionary. A teacher should be, or a school principal should be visionary, because this is the vision of the school which determines that what kind of the children will come out of the education system. At the same time, a school head will also keep in mind that what the school would be like after 20 years or so. So in this kind of situation, this is very important. Certainly these will be, make the school principal as a very, very effective leader. In fact, to a certain extent, although there are other 5 sets which are also important, but these are on a priority list. If I have to say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then I will rate this in terms of importance with regard to the attributes of a good leader in the form of principals or school heads.
So shall we discuss the rest of the 5 key attributes?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
The rest, what I see that, a principal or a leader is something who is who has a very good effective organizational skills, who does not work alone. Somebody can be a very good effective individual, but you have to be a team leader. You have to have a group of people whom you can take that along, whereby I think not only you yourself have to excel in the whole environment, but you have to see whether others are also performing well. So you have to be a team building person in this case, and whereby you have to see the strength and weakness of the persons who are there with you. You have to recognize the talent. You also have to see that how appreciate it. So and also not to over impose. Also, these are the organizational skills which are required when a principal or a leader has to be a team person, not just somebody who is leading from the front, but leaving the people behind, so that what he is the one who is speaking more often, rather than everybody having the shared responsibility and the tasks which are allocated. So people have a feeling of, so you are not leading one institution in the form of an individual, but you are leading a team. It's like the cricket team, when there is a leader who is there, who has the knowledge of this, how to bring all those organizational skills, whereby you can take all the helps from the I think the teachers, students, parents and community members. These are certain organizational skills which the school heads are supposed to have with them. Rest is another, the 7th attribute which I feel is more important is in the field of education, is the change management or innovation or change management, in the sense that we are living in the world of change. In fact, change is the rule of life. Everybody is changing. Things are now, the scale and the speed of the change is now much higher than what it was there earlier before. Things are happening at a speed which if we are not able to comprehend it properly, then it may affect adversely not only the individual but the society as a whole. So a school principal has to see that. It's not that only when today, as we see that we are living in the age of technology, where technology is in fact ruling the life, the systems are changing, things are becoming redundant. So a leader has to find out in terms of what are the innovative styles of doing certain things, so that the change which is coming into society in the classrooms, so the teachers do not feel that they are redundant in today's world. Today's world, in fact, students are more in fact knowledgeable with regard to the technology when other things. School principals or school head have to see that their teachers are whether in a position to take the advantage of that, or whether they are in a position to use or interact with that. So what kind of alternative measures can be adopted? So the change manager, school heads as a managing change is one of the important skills of this 21st century. In fact, that is very important, where you have to have a effective change management skills in this case. Another skill which I feel is very important with regard to the school is that the school does not exist isolated way. It is located within the community, around the community, so it has to have a good relationship with the community where it is located. And there has to be relationship. The community and school linkage has been very important activities, and wherever it has been, the linkage has been stronger, the performance of the school has been much better. Because if the community takes interest in terms of the functioning of the schools, then the resources, facilities, and all other activities, they enhance, the quality gets enhanced. So principal's task is to approach the community, where not only just to send the children to the school, but also in terms of seeing that what are the feedback that they are getting from the students to them. In what way the parents can play a role within the school systems, within the way. So the school principal has to have activities or enough activities where they can visualize that how the community can play a proactive role in this regard, and there can be relationship building with regard to the functioning of the school. The ninth, which I feel is very important in the sense that the system, a school head or somebody who is heading the system, any system, school is very important, has to be sensitive to the disadvantaged and those who are marginalized, weak. These are the groups they have to take, because those who are powerful, those who come from the very advantaged background, affluent background, they can take advantage of the situation. But those who are disadvantaged, weak, children with the special needs, some of these groups, in fact, they require much more attention than usually given to them in the normal way. And this is why that it is very important. It's the school head whose responsibility is to see that these children belonging to these categories should get the maximum attention with regard to facilities which are being provided within the school system, with regard to the opportunities which are available, with regard to the rights of the children to them through the school system, because school becomes the medium through which these things are being provided to the students, and in that case, so that is something very important. A leader is not only not for the powered people, or it's mainly for the disadvantaged, and they have to be empowered through the education system, where the school principals have to play a very important role. 10th key characteristics is that having a sustainability plan. Leader, what happens that when a leader is a person oriented, then once the leader disappears, the system collapses. So a leader is a good leader, or any leader is a good leader, especially in the case of a school principal, if they have a sustainability plans. Who will look after the system or the school once he or she leaves? So leadership is a continuous process, and in which it is, there is a remark by a Chinese philosopher who said that a leader is good when his presence is felt. A leader is better when his absence is felt. And a leader is best when neither his presence nor absence matters. What it says that a leader prepares next generation of leaders before he or she leaves. So there is not even a jerk. That person has left and what to do the next day. The system is prepared in such a way so there is a smooth transition. You do not even notice that your leader has gone from the scene. but that is how it is being prepared. Even Mahatma Gandhi had said that, you know, a good leader has a sustainability plan. Is that leader who has a sign of a good leader is not how many followers you have, but how many leaders you create. The school system, in fact, is known for creating so many talented people. This is where in the classroom, when the Kothari Commission, its report, in the very first line it said, the destiny of this nation is being shaped in the classroom. In that context, this is the cradle of the leadership, where at the school level only, the students, the seeds of leadership is sown in the minds of the students, so that they become the future leaders in that direction. So a school, in fact, has an environment which is created by this leader, and there are many schools like that who are known by these principals and those who have created such kind of system, and whereby this question system has been so effective. So these are 10 priority, in fact, key characteristics of the school heads as leaders. So to me, my thinking, there may be others also, others may add on in a different way, but I feel that if you have these 10 characteristics, probably you can see that school heads performing well in a systematic manner and doing well in the system, and can be exemplary in the character.
Absolutely. I think all the viewers who are watching your program, they are going to agree with you on these first 10 key attributes. And let me just repeat the last 5 attributes sir mentioned. It was organizational skills, team building, innovation and change management, community-based and relationship building, sensitive to the disadvantaged and with special need, and having sustainability plan. And the last quotation sir used, sir, was very appropriate, because Mahatma Gandhi must have said this long ago, you said during Kothari Commission, and that was years ago. And still that that quote is relevant, that a good leader is the one who doesn't have many followers, but the one who creates many leaders. Sir, with this, I want to ask you that the school heads can be trained to perform as effective leaders. I would like to ask you, how is this possible? They can be trained how? What are the skills they need here?
Yeah, thank you. This very good question. There are, with regard to the leaders, it is said that leaders are usually born. Very often said this person is a born leader.
Yeah.
In the case of a school principal, it is a different type, where the leadership qualities can be imbibed through the training, through certain skills which are there, because the kind of position which the school heads, in fact, need, so that can be those traits we talked about, can be brought out in the orientation program of the leaders. In fact, the new National Education Policy 2020 has recommended almost 50 hours of continuous professional development for these school heads. At NIEPA also, and at NCERT also, there is a NISTA program, National Initiative for School Heads, training and transformation and enhancement. I think holistic advancement of education. So these school heads, there is already a plan, in fact, and that is going on in this direction. There has been a process which has been on, and these days government is giving a special emphasis, because kind of innovations and changes which are being envisaged now in the education system through this, for which training is very much required. If there is a change in the education system, if the new pedagogy is brought out into the system, how that this pedagogy can be transacted or implemented in the schooling process is the school head who has to do it, and he has to understand that what are the emphasis. For example, in the case of new national education policy, there is a new pedagogic structure, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Now this structure comes with a new kind of pedagogic approach, whereby which needs certain way of I think teachers have to perform in a different way in comparison to what it was being done earlier before. So in this kind of a situation, teachers have to be prepared, and in order for teachers to perform that, school heads to have planned for that, so that even if the teachers are trained, systems are not in place, facilities are not provided, teaching learning materials are not there, those pedagogic innovations which have been talked will not be that effective. So idea here is that, of course, the leadership traits are there. There are certain which are inbuilt into the personality system, as we talked about communication skill, outgoing, a proactive nature. There may be certain personality factors, but there are certain skills which can be learned, whereby how to be target oriented. If there is a plan to achieve universal school education system as per this, then what the school has to do? In fact, the school has to find out that all the children, those who are in the school going age group, should be in the school system. No child should be outside the school. So that kind of, a school head has to think about those things also, because so that there is a universalization of school education with the effort of one school head in the very area where it is located. So this way.
Okay. So in this way, I think the school heads can be trained to perform as effective leaders. So here we can talk about certain government initiatives, the strategies adopted by the government for the capacity building of school principals, and because there are definitely multiple schemes, strategies. So do you have any data, any proof that how effective have they been so far?
There have been, in fact, there are various programs which have been going on, policies after policies, where these innovations which are being brought out by those policies, the school principals are given those training, in fact, with regard to how to implement this aspect. Even as I mentioned earlier before, that there is a 50 hours of CPD, continuous professional development for the school heads. NISTA itself has in fact come out with, there are many pedagogic innovations which are being tried, for which school heads are being prepared to take up those challenges which are being put forth before them, before the school system. If the school has to implement the new kind of pedagogy, the school principals have to perform this. So there is a process which are already going on. Samagra Shiksha and many other initiatives which are being implemented currently now. I think these are being aimed at bringing those aspects where the principals are at the forefront of understanding this, because it's if a principal understands, then it can be communicated effectively to all the teachers and the parents and the community members, and of course to the students. So that is something that is very much principals are very much amenable, in fact, to the system, and they are the critical units. This is where that we have to have this, who are the first target groups where this is there. Even the school management committee, in fact, where the school principals are the secretary of the school management committee, and they work along with the community members to look after the schools. So school management committee, there is already a training program at the cluster level where these principals not only have the training but also have the monthly meetings where these things, the problems of the schools and the needs of the area and the children are discussed and sorted out. So those are those facilities and those modalities are available.
Okay, okay. And so if we talk about the National Education Policy 2020, the recent policy regarding the education, can we say that there are certain implications for NEP 2020 for the school heads to carry out the agenda of pedagogic reforms? Are there any?
Yes, of course. In fact, there are many, in fact, challenges.
Okay.
In fact, as I told you that principals are going to be the change agents of the school education systems as per the perspectives of National Education Policy 2020. Because the kind of revolutionary steps which have been taken into overhauling the education system through a new kind of pedagogic structure, through a new approach to learning, by having importance to the foundational aspect of education, where the foundational literacy, numeration, all those things have to be emphasized, where the vocational aspect of education, many of these things which are very distinctive to the National Education Policy 2020 are in fact have certainly good implications, in fact serious implication for the school heads, because it's they who have to implement it. If the school is not able to implement what is being emphasized in the National Education Policy, then who will implement it? It's the school which has to implement it. So, and in the school, it's the principal or the school heads who have to understand the needs, what are the operational mechanisms that they have to do, what are the steps that they have to take in this direction. Already some states have initiated with regard to those foundational aspect, in fact, where the curriculum and other aspects are already in place, and the latter levels and stages are also being looked into. But of course, the National Education Policy has come out with this. National Education Policy also has come out with certain kind of this 21st century skills. You know, you are preparing India for as a knowledge superpower, where you know the new technology, the new innovations which where those things have to be looked into. The National Education Policy is also talking about Indian knowledge systems, in fact indigenous knowledge system of India, where Bharatiya Gyan Parampara, how that can be imbibed in the school systems, where the Indian knowledge systems which have been neglected by the earlier education system should be I think given adequate importance and due importance in the education system. So the principals are the ones who are supposed to give a due importance to it and take this forward, the agenda of National Education Policy.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for all the information you gave to all our viewers, and for clarifying each and everything regarding those top 10 key attributes for school heads as leaders. So thank you so much for giving this program your precious time and for being with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to all our viewers as well. I really hope that you enjoyed this program, and this was very informative and necessary program. If in case you have missed watching it, please watch it on NCRT Official. That is our YouTube channel. It's going to be uploaded over there. You can watch it anywhere, anytime you want, and all you need is an internet connection. It is that simple. So please watch it, and if you have any queries, we are always here to take up your queries. NCRT Official, in the live chat box you can write down your questions, queries, and share them with us. So we are wrapping up this program here, and we are wrapping up our today's programs as well, but tomorrow we'll come back again with more programs on more subjects, on more topics. And if you have any feedback, you can also share that with us. So there are multiple mediums through which you can join us, and I'll take a leave of you, but before that let me tell you once again that we are extremely proud of the fact that India assumed G20 presidency and would convene the G20 Leaders Summit for the first time in the country this year, that is 2023. A nation deeply committed to democracy and multilateralism, India's G20 presidency would be a watershed moment in her history, as it seeks to play an important role by finding global pragmatic solutions for the well-being of all, and in doing so manifest its true spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or should I say the world is one family. With that announcement, thank you so much once again. Have a great day ahead. Take care, and I'm Tanvi Khurana. I'll take a leave of you. Namaskar.